don't try to show up or say yes to 3 different things in the same day.
Yeah.
I've definitely have been that person.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh crap. Instead of saying yes or no, just say, I'll get back to you. Because then you have a little bit of time to process, maybe look at your schedule, and then maybe you can add that in.
What's the benefit of talking to a therapist about these problems versus like close friends and stuff like that?
My thoughts, like a jigsaw puzzle, trying to figure out how to make sense of it. I spoke to him, and I feel like everything started forming sentences. I started to understand myself in a different way.
Do you like the whole team aspect of running?
I liked the team that I had.
Okay.
This is my family. The experience from going from like a 10K, and then we did Point Magoo. I think it was the 25K. So they basically, those races were like training for the big 50K. You're at a point in your brain where you're like, I don't know if I can continue doing this. Like you kind of beat yourself up, but then you push through it, and it's like mentally challenging.
Yo, it's been a long time coming.
When did we start talking about this? I think it was like maybe last summer.
A year?
Or maybe, okay, so longer.
When did we meet?
I think it's been about over a year, right?
LSKD event? I don't know. I don't remember how we met.
I don't know either.
Had to be an LSKD event.
Something like
Yes.
that. I think so because I
Could have been the first fit stop.
I saw you a few times and you're like, hey, like I see you often. Like I'm Nate. You know what? It might have been Helix.
Oh, it was at the Helix gym for sure.
I think that we have met before that, but we
Yeah.
hadn't really like actually hung out.
Yeah, and I saw all your running stuff. Maybe, I don't know. And then we connected to go on the Wisdom Tree run.
Yeah.
I was impressed. You're fast.
Really?
Because like you're jacked too. Like whenever okay guys, like Julia's really strong. Like her shoulders, I that's what it was. I was like, yo girl, you got better shoulders than mine. Like that's what it was.
Yeah.
And then you're like, yeah, work on them. I was like, I want some of those.
I swear, guys, like I came out the womb like this.
No.
When I look at pictures of myself when I was younger, like I was like skinny. Like my sister used to say, if I turn this way, you wouldn't be able to see me.
Yeah.
Because I was literally just like a stick. But I always had traps.
Yeah.
Like I swear to God, ever since I was like a kid.
But it looks like it took you a while to do. I mean, you're not born like that.
No, I feel like it's funny because like over time, because like I was younger and I was just like, I don't know, following what everyone else was doing.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't notice the gains over time.
You didn't notice the gains.
No, like I wasn't like paying attention, like, oh, my shoulders are getting bigger. I was just doing what people were telling me to do.
Okay.
Like, hey, go work out these arms. Go. I had a friend.
Who was telling you this?
So my friend was a competitor. He was like doing like a bodybuilding competition. I think I was like 22.
So you weren't even into fitness like before that?
I think I went to my first gym when I was like 21.
Oh.
But I played sports.
Okay.
So I feel like all those sports that you are doing in school, then you get outside of high school and you're like, what do I do with myself?
Yeah.
You're so
What
used to
sports?
having track and field. I just liked running around like soccer, basketball, but more professionally like with like high school and stuff with like track. And I loved like being fast. And I like loved being on teams and things like that. But I feel like when you leave high school, you're like, okay, what do I do for like
I feel like
activities?
I feel like identity changes a huge amount outside of that, because like for me, when I was in high school, like golf was everything. Like that's who I defined myself as. I was like, I was the golfer. Like, and I practiced.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like that's all I had my like self-worth on at the time, like how good I was at this one thing.
I guess that's how track was for me.
That's how track was for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I mean, I wasn't going out.
Yeah.
Like I probably didn't go out until like my senior year. There was a lot of restrictions.
Yeah. And then how did you redefine yourself after like high school?
I went to college in Rhode Island, and I don't know what I was doing. I was like, I'm gonna go for fashion.
Fashion.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I just wanted to get outside of my house and outside of my state. So I literally went an hour away. I went to Rhode Island, which is literally about an hour drive to go down Route 6. And because I was 1 hour away from home, I was like, oh, like I can get away with shit. You know what I mean? But going to college for that first part, I was kind of like, okay, who am I? What am I doing? I met some incredible people at school, but I wasn't really doing any sports. So
and that was such a huge part of yourself, like in high school.
It really was. I kind of took a step back, and I feel like going and meeting people once I was out of college, like I was only there for like a year or two, and I was like, okay, I don't think I'm ready for this. So I went back home.
Ready for college?
Yeah. Like, I was like, okay, I tried it. You're supposed to, everyone always says, like, okay, after high school, you go to college. But that's not necessarily, you have to go to, like, a big university. You can go to community college.
Yeah, that's what
and
I
then
did
figure
as well.
it out. I wish I did that first.
I love community college because it opened my eyes to more life in the sense of I was going to class with moms. I was going to class with like ex-drug dealers. I was going to class with like plumbers, you know, like real life people, like not preppy kids who, and I did experience that because I ended up going to UCLA as well.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I was studying economics with this lawyer who came back from school who was just like, I don't want to do law anymore. And I was studying with a car dealer who I used to go to the casino. I used to see him deal cards. And then this gang member with tattoos talking about like, yeah, dude, I got shot like 2 years ago and I changed my life. Yeah. And I was like, that experience in community college in terms of people was, I think, way more educational than any other school that I could have gone to.
I literally went to a university. Then I went to a tech school.
Okay, what's a tech school?
I did medical coding.
You've literally done everything. That's crazy.
Literally have.
Medical coding? I don't even know what that is.
So it's basically how doctors get paid. Like if you go into like you get your arm broken or different things of the body, they basically have to code what was broken, how it was broken, like the event behind it.
There's so by numbers, like everything. It's like 355 and that's like broken arm.
Right.
Kinda?
Yeah, so broken arm inside of a house. Okay. So the house would be like 001.
What?
Yeah, so coding is actually a lot of fun when you're in it.
Okay.
Because it's kind of like, it's just like when we had Myspace. We all learned how to code.
Sure.
In some way. Because you had to figure.
I wasn't part of the Myspace. I had a MySpace account, but
now I feel old.
I had a MySpace account, but similar to Facebook. Like I don't really know how to use it.
Yeah.
So explain to me what MySpace was like back in the day.
MySpace had like
back in the day.
Back in the day. Okay. So MySpace had like your profile picture.
Okay.
But in order to have the page set up, you had to learn how to put the codes. And if a code was out of place, you would know. Because it would just show up as all numbers. Like it would look like...
You had to code your MySpace?
Yeah.
Really?
People were learning how to code back in the day.
Okay.
Not kidding. So I went to school thinking, okay, medical coding, it's a year program.
Yeah.
I'm not a school person. So I'm like, I'm going to get it done. I'll have a job, whatever. I did it and I was like, I don't want to do this either. And at that time I was 25. So I was like, okay, I'm not going back to school if I don't know what I want to do. So I went back to school at maybe like 27. Because I was like, okay, I really love working with kids. At this time, I was already working with kids since like 18. But I was doing like office work and jobs that I thought that you're supposed to do, like adult jobs. I didn't think that nannying was going to be like a profession for me.
Yeah.
And then I went back to school to be a teacher.
Why do you think that the corporate life is pitched so hard, like growing up, or in that?
I think our parents didn't know any different.
You know, because in LA especially, it's not that.
Yeah, it's not.
It's everyone's like preaching
not to do that.
Not to do that. It's like all our friends are not that. Like I don't have any. I have one or two friends.
I have some friends that work for corporate companies, but they're either working remote.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And remote wasn't a thing like way back. Like I feel like you always had to go into the office.
Yeah.
Everyone's driving at the same time to get to work. At least back home for me, I feel like it was go to school, get a job, buy a house, have a family. And then that goes like, that's universal for everyone, right?
Yeah.
But I already knew that I was like, this is not me. So going back to school, I really waited and I was like, okay, I really love kids. How can I make this like educational? Because I was really, really, from my family, I feel like education, going to school was like a very big thing where like it was like a no if you didn't go to school, like and get like degrees and stuff. For me, I'm like, okay, I know I'm smart, but I've learned a lot of lessons outside of the classroom. Like how I learn is actually going through the different things. So working with kids, that's hands-on. I'm working in people's homes. I'm learning more about my growth myself. I'm learning about relationships, communication, boundaries. I'm learning about all these things that not necessarily you're gonna learn in a classroom, sitting there talking to a teacher. That's not how I learn. So I went back to school to be a teacher, to do teaching, and I went to community college, like you were saying. But I think it's because I went later on. I had a lot more knowledge of how the other types of college, like going to a university, having your freshman year be kind of like crazy partying and like having fun, whereas like community college at this age for me, I was like, okay, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to get my education and like leave, which I liked community college because it was all different ages.
What were we just talking about?
Which is really nice. It was a completely better experience than when I had when I was like 18. It was nice when I was 18 being around all 18-year-olds, but it's distracting too, because it's like if you don't have a focus, and who's focused really? Like, I mean, at 18.
There's some, but like most of the time, no.
There is. Yeah. But like you're there, like you're like college, yay, like new people, especially if you're going to a whole other state.
Yeah. What did you like about kids?
What I love about kids still is that they're honest.
They just say how it is.
They say how it is. They have no filter because they don't know how to have one. And I think in the sense of all the different ages that I've worked with, I want to say the ages between newborn and like 5 years old.
I hate those ages.
I feel like I've worked with kids that are like between 10 and like 13, especially boys.
Yeah.
This generation is so different.
Yeah.
Like you're never gonna be cool. You're never gonna be cool. You're not a boy. You're not their age. You don't play video games.
Sure.
You might be able to get some kids outside. I can't say that for every kid, like every child that I've worked with in California, but those ages are really tough to get outside. They are like, oh, like it's been 30 minutes. Can we go back inside? And I'm like, I was just like made like you had one choice, inside or out. Yeah. Like especially when I was growing up, like if you went inside, like you were inside for the night. If you were wanting to go outside, you spent as much time as you could being outdoors. Yeah. As soon as you went inside, that was it. You wouldn't see your friends until the next day. There was no texting. There was no talking to your friends on video games.
Yeah, outside was the move. Like biking to people's houses or...
Even if you're allowed to go like 2 blocks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, but, the whole generation too, like the video games are big and they're building their communities online through these video games.
Well, there's also, I have nephews and I think for me too is there's a lot of creeps out there.
A lot of creeps.
They've been there the whole time. Yeah. But there's more. Yeah.
They're figuring out loopholes to get access to these kids.
Yeah, which is kind of nerve-wracking.
Scary too. But I went home and I have a lot of cousins who are just like glued to their computers or glued to their iPads and stuff like that. And so on Christmas Day, I woke all my cousins up at 7 a.m. and I took them for a 4-mile run and we did a cold plunge in like the pool that my uncle has.
How old are they?
The youngest one who did the cold plunge was like 6. He didn't do the run though. Yeah. And so it was the kids who went on the run and the cold plunge were from 12 to 20.
Oh, wow.
So I woke all of their asses up at 7 a.m. There was, I think, 7 of us.
Wow.
And now they talk about it all the time. And now 3 of them, they used to not run and now they run, you know. Before we continue this week's conversation, I just wanted to take a quick moment and talk to you about our friends at Mud Water. Their original blend is a coffee alternative made of 100% organic cacao, masala chai, turmeric, lion's mane, reishi, and cordyceps to give you natural energy and focus without the jitters or crash. When I know I'm gonna have a long day ahead of me, I mix the Mud Water original blend with some whole milk and a couple drops of honey to elevate my day. In my opinion, it's more flavorful than a chai latte and is better fuel for my body. To elevate your day and get the benefits of coffee without the jitters or crash, click the link below to receive 20% off. And back to the show. I just started getting into running 4 years ago. Okay. When did you start getting into it?
I think I was like 6.
Oh shit. Yeah, like, you did track.
I was running all the time, but like more professionally, like getting into something that I could put my energy in.
I guess from like a young standpoint, like what has running done for you? Because I just started experiencing the benefits of it, like mentally and all that jazz, like recently, but I want to know your perspective from like a young age.
Younger, obviously you're not thinking like, oh, this is mentally helping me.
Yeah.
But subconsciously, it's probably the best thing for a person like my age at that time. I think I was experiencing a lot of like family stuff. Okay. And when you're younger at that age, you don't know how, you want to find an outlet, but you don't know how. So like getting outside, running, and then being a part of a team. I think being the middle child, I've always kind of been like, oh, like trying to figure out what am I doing or where I belong and things like that. So being a part of a team was always like cool. Going to different track meets on the weekends, feeling like, you know, like people are rooting for me was like really nice. But like I have so much energy when I wake up ever since I was a kid. So getting that energy out was kind of like balancing.
Yeah.
Fast forward to now, there's so many benefits that I have experienced in the last 15 years with just utilizing it, whether I'm going through a hard friendship or I'm having a bad day or, you know, work sucks. Like I go for a run or go for a walk or get outside. And I feel like that's just been the last 15 years. I'm like, I think I was only doing like a couple miles. But now, like, I move out to California, I'm like doing 50Ks.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Never did I see myself being a trail runner. Like, I was always
different.
a hiker.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's different. We went on a 3-miler today.
Yeah.
Julie was booking, guys.
I don't know. I thought you were going a little further and stuff. I walked a little bit too, but
yeah, but like your speed walk was my little like pace. It was we were going the same pace. Yeah. So guys, we're going up this steep ass mountain. I'm doing like little jogging steps, and she's just speed walking, but we're going the same pace.
Yeah,
it's the same pace.
Well, because also like vertical, I don't think I actually have done rattlesnake.
Okay,
that's what it was.
Yeah, rattlesnake and Griffith. Julia's the new local legend.
Yeah, I did see that. That's funny. Maybe you were right. I was booking it up.
You were booking it up because that route that I usually do, I do it like 2-3 times a week, and usually I shoot for a 40-minute pace, or 40 minutes for those 3 miles. Yeah. And it's pretty steep in the beginning, but me and Julia did it in 38.
Let's go.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I honestly was just like happy to be outside.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was like, oh,
you don't breathe hard. Like
you don't think I did? I thought I was like. Maybe, I don't know. I have been, I would say during the week, I do get a lot of walking in with the little girls, like the dogs that I work with.
Yeah.
I probably get like 15,000 steps, if not more, a day.
Yeah.
Which is like really good.
Yeah.
Like some people don't even get 10K. I just think it's healthy to have that for like your heart and just to like move your body.
Yeah. How do we get more people to get that as their default? You said that like when you had a hard time, when you have a family problem going on, all this stuff, it's like default, get outside, go for a run, do that jazz. Because there's a lot of people who are like, I'm going to sit at home in my blanket and isolate myself, and I'll feel better for resting in my mind that way.
I mean, I think everyone's different, but I think if that's how you cope, don't isolate yourself for 3 days. If you're gonna isolate yourself, do it for maybe like a couple hours.
Yeah. And
then go get some fresh air. Like I don't think it's healthy. I think when I was younger, I would get in these like mindsets where like if I was sad, I'd be sad for like 3 days. I'm like, that's not healthy. Think about like how your mind is during that time and all those different things you could be doing with your time. And now I have a lot of healthy outlets, but sometimes it's nice to just be still. And because I have a lot of energy, I'm always trying to like.
Yeah, you're an Energizer bunny. We were talking before the podcast, and I was like, I feel like you're drunk all the time.
Well, that's what I was telling you too. Yeah. I'm like how the whole alcohol sense, where I went from like I'm not fun without alcohol. I can be fun. I said I'm not when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I went through 3 different phases. I'm like, okay, I'm not fun without alcohol.
Okay.
I'm scared of who I am without it. Am I gonna be? People are still gonna like me. Am I still gonna be fun? And then I went from like, oh, I'm fun without alcohol, but you know, having a couple drinks is fun. And I'm like, I don't even need alcohol to be fun. I'm like, I'm awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that it's not everyone, but I think for me, I needed to learn it in that way. I can't just be like, no drinking.
I love that. I think alcohol is such a big crutch for me still.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it definitely breaks the. I don't think I'm anxious, but I'll definitely like get fidgety with my hand, and I feel like I do enjoy a cocktail. Like I enjoy
enjoying it is nice, not to get like crazy.
Yeah, not to get crazy, but I still think it breaks like a seal. Like for example, there's a lot of people who come on and talk on the podcast who are nervous to. You know, it's like kind of intimidating if you never like had headphones on and a mic and all this stuff. And once you get a couple drinks in them, they're like, yo, let's go. How's it going? This and that, you know? And So it does. It's a social lubricant in that sense. But I've been thinking about it, and I was like, what if you could be that person? What if you could be that Energizer Bunny, like you said, without needing that lubricant?
I think it's taken me a long time to get there, though.
Yeah.
I've seen myself, and I've been through a lot of different things. Especially, it would be 6 years in March I've been in California. So I feel like from 2019, which like we obviously had 2020, kind of. And then it was 2022. Like 2021, I don't even know where that one went. It was just like gone.
I feel like the last 5 years, 6 years have kind of like flown by really quickly.
I'm like, it can't be really. I'm like, and then we had this past January, which felt like 2 years and 1 month.
Oh.
But January always feels long. Yeah. It just felt longer, obviously, with everything.
You've done a lot for the fires.
I have. I tried to go out of my way in the sense of, like, even if I just share resources. But I think it's just who I am. And I also, like, I have to take care of myself too, and I wasn't. Because I was just like, I don't need to care about myself right now. Everyone else needs my help. So in like 3 days, I was like depleted.
No, I know. I was very inspired by all the stuff that you were doing for the fires. And sometimes I have I don't know if the word's dichotomy, but like this little fight with myself. Basically, I truly believe that you could only be the best for other people, help those people around you if you're the best version for yourself.
Right.
And so I selfishly take care of myself so much, like the workouts, my work, what fulfills me. And then with the extra space that I have, I try to give it to those around me.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes there's not enough space in that cup to give to others outside of that.
I probably need to be doing that too.
I know, but like I'm looking too, and it's like, dang, should I create more space there? Because it's so inspiring seeing someone like you go to these volunteer things and help people who you don't know outside of that, you know?
That's like, it just comes naturally for me. And I just don't know how else to be. Even if like I don't even know you, like how can I help?
Yeah.
That's just how I've always been.
Yeah.
But like you said, with being selfish and taking care of yourself, that's also something that I'm working on. I think I do take care of myself. I just need to give myself maybe like 10 or 15% more of that energy toward myself. Because like you said, you can't, like, if you have nothing left in your cup, how, like, where are you getting it from? Like, there's nothing in that cup.
Yeah. You can only take so many energy drinks before you drop dead.
Exactly. But it's just how I've always been. And I think once I take a step back, I have an amazing therapist who I've been with the last 4 years. And when I sit down like once a week and talk to him, I have like an hour a week. And I'm just like, hey, I always have so much to update him up with. From like that Wednesday to the next Wednesday, I have so much that happens. Yeah. But even if it's just like, oh, like an aha moment.
So what's the therapy process like? Is it just, so I think the last time I did therapy was in college. So I was probably 20-ish, 19, 20-ish.
Okay.
And I kind of just like laid out my problems to him and gave me some advice back. I didn't find so much benefit out of it.
Right.
But in terms of, I feel like everyone's process is a little different. Like, do you just update, like you go day by day? This is what happened, this and that.
I have weeks where I'm like, hey, I'm good this week.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I recognize if I'm saying I'm good this week, and then the next 3 weeks, I realize like, even though if I'm good, it's still good to talk to him, even if it's about good stuff. Yeah. It doesn't always have to be about crap. But I also noticed there was like a month or two, maybe like a year ago, that I was actually being avoidant and not wanting to talk about stuff. I think I was just like going off of whatever was going on the outside, but not really digging inside. And there were things that eventually did come up, like, you know, months later, and I'm like, oh, I've been avoiding this. I didn't even realize.
What's the benefit of, I guess, talking to a therapist about these problems versus like close friends and stuff like that?
So it's so interesting because when I think I was like 26 or 27, I got in some trouble, and I was assigned a therapist. Like I was like, okay, to be able.
Did you beat someone up or something?
No, I got a DUI.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was like back when I was wild, I guess, like 10 years ago. But
were you like extremely intoxicated?
It was actually, you know what I was doing is I could have walked 5 minutes down the street, maybe like a 10-minute walk to my house. That day I was out. It was like a Saturday, and I went to hang out with one of my girlfriends. I knew I wasn't driving, so I was like, I'm gonna have fun and drink. They drink. So we got together. She ended up getting way more wasted than me. I sobered up as much as I could, and I decided to get in her car. And I don't even think I drove. I think I got in the driver's seat, and like it was New Haven, Connecticut. There's a lot of one ways, so I think like I hesitated at a one way, and I got pulled over. We didn't even go anywhere, and it was because I was trying to help someone else.
Yeah,
it's never. It's like I went out of my way to help her because I knew that
she was not great,
and I was like, why? And I had to space myself from that person for a while because I was like, it's not her fault. It's up to me to kind of see who I'm putting putting myself around. Yeah. So I went to like actual like hole. I think it was like the lowest point where I was just kind of like, you start to kind of see, you'll see who your real friends are. Yeah. Especially when stuff like that pops up. Yeah. Because you can't really drive. The therapist part, getting back to it, she was like a godsend. Honestly, her name was Julia, which is hilarious.
The therapist.
The same age as me. Okay. But she was from Oregon. Complete opposite. She was super cool.
Different therapist than you currently have.
Yeah. Okay. She, I think she's like a life coach now.
Okay.
She's kind of wild. She's back in Oregon.
Yeah.
Either way, it was kind of like I found Headspace, so it's like a meditation app, and I was like, okay, like I've never been able to kind of like sit with myself. I think I've always been thinking that I need to be social 150% of the time. But I never really spent time with myself. So that forced me to spend more time with myself, where like I was kind of like, I had a lot of social anxiety for a while. Because I was like, I don't know if I want to be at bars. Because like, I obviously was putting myself around people I didn't realize, which took a step back from like drinking or anything like that. Because it wasn't even like I was like wasted. It was the fact that like I went behind my, I took over and I was trying to help a friend out. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to take care of myself. So I got like really into hiking and meditation. But therapy, I always thought that I was like, I don't want to talk to somebody that doesn't know me. Why can't I just talk to my friend or my family member? But it's nice to have someone that doesn't really know you, kind of step in and be like, hey, like what has gone on since like, you were younger, kind of like lay it out. And I can't say this for every therapist because I know I've had a therapist before where I'm like, I don't think this is working. Yeah. I don't think I'm getting anything out of this. Or they bring up like a religious factor. They're like, oh, in the Bible. And I'm like, for me, to each their own. But like if someone's pressuring me and saying certain things, I'm like, okay, it doesn't really resonate with me. I don't like that forced stuff. She really laid it out for me. I think she was like she was the type of person that'd be like, smoke a joint, take a bath. She was super chill.
I didn't even one of those.
She was so chill.
Yeah.
And she really, really helped me through a time where I was like, it is actually kind of nice to talk to somebody that doesn't really know, my history in a way, where I feel like my therapist now, she pretty much set me up for the 4 years before I moved out here.
Oh, wow.
She like helped me heal in a certain part of myself. I mean, obviously you have to do the work yourself. You can't like go to the therapist and then she's saying you're working on these things, but then you don't really do the homework. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So those 4 years I had her, I then was like, had enough courage and I felt more confident in myself to make a big change, like moving all the way from Connecticut to California. Like that's a huge 3,000 miles away.
Changing your whole life.
Everybody.
Yeah.
And now my therapist that I have now, I only got him like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Because I had some family loss, and I was like, okay, I need someone, but I need a specific type. I'm like I said, every therapist out there, I can't speak for every therapist, because you got to find the one that's like kind of like resonates with you. Yeah. It's kind of on the same page. Therapist I have now is a psychotherapist. So he does more like inner child, trauma, different things like that, where he really gets deep, but he never makes you feel like he had his own life outside of therapy, where like, I mean, like for him, he was a wild one before he became a therapist. And I think those wild experiences for him made him realize that he wants to help other people, which is why he's in the profession that he is now. He never makes me feel less than. He doesn't speak to me like a parent in any way. If anything, we're on the same page with a lot of things. And I feel like the different things in my mind, before I had him as a therapist, consider my thoughts like a jigsaw puzzle, like a trying to figure out how to make sense of it. I spoke to him, and I feel like everything started forming sentences. I started to understand myself in a different way, maybe at a different time in my life. But I was like, I think therapy is helpful, and I don't think everyone specifically needs it in per se, but I think it's just healthy to kind of like have an outside perspective.
I think I'm kind of resonating with that in the sense of having a coach.
Without going down like a rabbit hole too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because
that's exactly what it
like
is.
You know how you were saying, I'm the type of person who I didn't think I needed a therapist or a coach or anything in my life because I'm like, you could do it yourself. You can figure it out, bro. Even a coach has a coach. Yeah. Yeah. And I started working with this bodybuilding coach, and like you said, you kind of know what you got to do, but having someone accountable to be like, I'm not, like, for example, I could program a workout. Yeah. And
I can't. I'd rather someone do it.
By the end of my workout that I programmed for myself, I'll be like, I programmed this. Like, you don't need to do that last, like, 4 movements. Like, oh, you're good. In my head, when I see this guy's program, my coach's program, shout out Sean, and it's the last one's the last movement for leg day was like 100 leg presses straight, like 1 set.
Wow.
I was like, I don't want to fucking do this, but it's on the program. I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Right? Well, I think it's like if you don't want to do like, I don't know, like 85. Yeah. You have to do the 100.
Yeah.
That's how my mind works.
I know.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, fuck this. But having a coach be accountable to for the lifestyle, for the fitness, for the whatever. Mental too. And it takes away the thinking too. And I didn't realize how much brain power, how much time and emotional energy that stuff takes.
Yeah.
And it made me realize, like, oh, this is what I'm doing for other people. Like, I should have someone do that for me as well.
Yeah.
You know, and it took all this energy that I was like built up like throughout my days, weeks. And I was like, why am I like emotionally drained all the time? I got a coach and for my fitness stuff. So I don't need to like put that on me too. Yeah. And I was like, I feel lighter, you know, and I'm making more progress. Yeah. You know?
I have,
and that's why I'm relating it back to your therapy story right now, because like that's what you just talked about. Like that's how I feel.
I can't be my best self if I'm not my best self for other people. Like I'm not gonna probably be around anyone. And I think when I was younger, I was like, my switch has to be on like all the time. But I was like, oh wait. As I got older, I was like, I can switch it off whenever I want and like charge myself and like. I like really enjoy being alone in my own space, probably more often than not. And people, I mean, even you're looking at me right now. People probably don't even see that. They're like, "Oh, this girl's like everywhere." But like, I actually spend majority of my time actually by myself.
Yeah. Well, every time we talk, like you're everywhere. Like we're talking about this and that, and I'm just like, "Where's she at right now?"
If I'm not driving to like a workout or I don't know. Or to like work or something. I feel like that is one thing about LA that I wish I could change is like not having to drive everywhere. If I could just drive here and there and that's it, like that'd be great.
I hacked the system in LA a year and a half ago. Yeah, like I walked to my gym. It was next door.
That's so nice.
And that's where I worked. And
yeah.
I think I drove maybe 3,000 miles that year.
Do you think that's okay? So I think when I've like been closer to work or closer to my gym, I kind of like, oh, it's only 5 minutes down the street, which is nice. Sure. But I feel like I end up being late.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like the longer, like a little bit more of a commute for me pushes me to get up earlier.
No. Yeah.
Or setting my time late.
I feel like if you schedule out your day and you make it non-negotiable with yourself, like this is the plan, stick to the plan no matter what it is.
Yeah.
You build momentum off of that. And I feel like I treat it like a game. Like you get there by like 9:30 and you told yourself you're gonna be there by 9:30. I was like, oh, I got a couple tokens. Like I got to, in the video game of life.
Yeah, well, you also got to add on traffic.
I know. So like, oh, I got to be there at X time. It's going to take maybe 45 minutes. I'll leave an hour 10 early. If I have extra time, I'll use that 20 minutes to like journal or read a book. Like every little detail for it. You know?
I think it's just me, like I was saying to you on the run today, I was like, I'm kind of getting more like, I'm a morning person, but I had, at one point, I was doing 6 a.m. CrossFit classes 5 days a week because like the structure of it, knowing that I had those classes every day at the same time. And then I would have this much time before going to work. I like really need that structure for my mental brain. Because if I don't have it, then I'm like all over the place. Yeah. Like having something set up just really, really just resonates with.
Well, it takes the thinking out.
Yeah, it does. And then I feel like now I kind of like waking up slow and not rushing to get to the gym to do a workout, or like not rushing, but like going to the gym and getting like hyped up like at 5 a.m. Yeah. I'm like kind of, and my husband would love hearing me say this because he is like, he gets up at like 8, maybe 9. Granted,
8 and 9 is still early, guys.
It's still early.
Julie's already talking about. A little bit later. Julie's talking about like you guys are lazy if you're waking up at 8 or 9.
He's the type of person that will literally get up, have his coffee, and like chill with this coffee for like 30 minutes. Okay. And like enjoy the coffee. Yeah. Meditate.
That's very European. And I'm, like, he's European.
Yeah. Running out the door.
Yeah, me too.
But like what I'm saying is 5 a.m. instead of waking up and like running out the door, I'm like, let me wake up at like 5 a.m. and this is like, I'm gonna give myself 20 minutes to kind of like open my eyes, stretch a little bit, maybe like do like a couple minute meditation before I get outside the gym, or get outside and like go work out. And I've found that to kind of like really set up myself
for success.
Yeah.
Like mentally, physically, everything.
Like you said, like if you could choose between like 9:30 and like 10:30 to get that workout in and not have to be early, you know, with your work schedule. Yeah. It would be, I'm sure a lot of people would be doing the same thing. Yeah. But like I mean,
that's why all my clients are between 7 and 11 a.m. Like that's kind of like the ideal time. So like for me, I either have to get it in before super fucking early or later in the day.
And you think it's harder later in the day?
Later in the day, I don't know. When it hits about like 10 p.m. and then I decide to go, like there's some different animal in me.
Nighttime?
Yeah.
That's a late.
Oh, for sure. I'm all over. Yeah. I'm still all over.
I think I used to be that way. Sometimes I would go if I couldn't sleep, I would get up and go to the gym at like 1 a.m. Yeah. Like I was kind of like, I was definitely, I don't know who that was at that age, but I was doing like 2 days. Yeah. Like, cause that was like my only outlet. So I was just going to the gym. And now I feel like I have like meditation or like yoga or like.
Okay. So describe what your meditation process is, because for me, I describe mine as just like going through thoughts while I'm running. Running's my meditation. Yeah, running is that type of meditation. You could be driving and listening to music. That's for sure. Meditation. But how are you describing it as?
So for me, because I'm active in so many places of my life when it comes to like work and like working out, running, different things, I really like to kind of like sit with myself. I have an app called Chani. Yeah, she's incredible. I've been following her for a very long time. She's gotten a lot bigger. She actually lives in LA, I'm pretty sure. Oh, sick. It would be incredible to meet her. Oh my God.
But I'm sure it will happen.
She's gotten a lot of different meditations added to her app over the years. And I really resonate. There's a sleep one to kind of count you down to sleep, and like breath work and kind of like taking your day off. Like kind of like using taking your day that you had and kind of just being like, you are not your day. You are not like this. You're not that. Like you are whole as your person, and kind of just like winding you down. Because sometimes when you have a lot going on, which is why I don't work out at night, I get amped up at night. If I'm working out at night, I'm not going to bed. Yeah. Like there's like no way. Like I can drink coffee at like 5 p.m. and I'd be fine. I can still fall asleep. Okay. If I work out at like 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, I'm not going to bed until like 1. Yeah. Like I wish my brain was, I just need to shut myself off at a certain time. So like meditating in the morning for like 5-10 minutes, and then having like a wind down time between 5 and like 7, whether it's reading, stretching, or having like a little another meditation. It's pretty much just sitting in silence sometimes and kind of just really feeling what's going on and how I'm feeling in my body in the present moment.
Just acknowledging like yourself as a whole.
But like you said, running is a huge meditation for me too. Yeah. Especially being out in the trails.
Yeah. It's different. There's something different about, I really don't enjoy road running much.
I'm good.
And there's something about like just being in nature, and you just, sometimes even by yourself, and you just.
With no music too.
No music.
Right.
And there's something crazy about it in the sense of you're in this, you have to come down the mountain, one. Like, you can't just stop.
No.
Because you have to finish. Yeah. Like, road, like, there's a couple times that I'd call an Uber, you know? And I was just like, I'm not doing this anymore. But if you're at the top of a mountain, you got to come down.
Yeah, like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've always just been a nature person since I was a kid.
Yeah.
So being out here and having, like, a lot bigger mountains than we have. We don't even have mountains in Connecticut. We have, like, hills. Mm. And the nature and the hiking that we have in Connecticut is beautiful. But, like, when I came out here, I was, like, really, really avid hiking. During 2020, when a lot of stuff was shut down, I was finding places randomly on all trails, just, like, closing my eyes and being like, right, this is where I'm going. It was, like, a 2-hour drive. It was, like, a 2-hour hike, and then I had to do a 2-hour drive back. But I spent it in nature, and it was so resetting. Yeah. When I was going through that whole experience, when I had my first therapist and my DUI and stuff, I got really, really into hiking and meditation then too. Like, that was, like, my first experience. This is back when I used to smoke weed. I would have, like, a little hit, and I would just go off. Yeah. And I was in my own space, and at that time, I can't do that now, but it was just
if you wanted to.
I could. But I think it's, like, my mentality at that time, I was spending so much time with myself that I was, like, it was almost like, I know it sounds, it's not for everyone, but, like, spending too much time with myself, where I needed to have a balance of being able to, like, spend my time. And that's when I realized, oh, like, I don't have to hang out with these 20 people. I don't even like these 20 people. I like making 2 people out of that. So really just being more selective.
Sure.
And I think it's, like, from 26 to, like, 30 when you kind of start to kind of dwindle out certain people and, like, focus on, like, okay, this person makes me feel really good. This person makes me want to have, like, 5 drinks. Yeah. That can't be healthy.
Yeah. It's really changing the environment, you know? Like, I realized this within the past year, I don't bartend anymore. And just by not bartending anymore, I don't drink as much.
Well, you probably don't deal with half the other people, half the drunken people that are out there, too.
Not just that. So, like, bartending culture, like, you're going to get drinks with friends after work all the time. And those type of people, what do? They do, like, other drugs. And what else do? They go to after hours and just party all night. And you're getting it. And they sleep in until 12. And I was like, that's not the type of person I want to be, you know? Even though I respect the art form of making cocktails and, like, the Prohibition period and, like, there's the whole acting world, too, where, like...
It's so crazy that you say the acting world because, like, you see people that are servers at the restaurants. Yeah. And bartending, right, obviously. And they are, yeah. Like, they actually do really well. I'm like, wow, you got me. Like, here's a good tip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is why I see a
really
lot of people
service.
that are actors in these other side jobs while they're doing, you know.
Well, the most romantic part about it is, I will even talk about it right now, is I probably had 30 people one night when I was bartending. 30 people who I knew in past lives come and visit me, like, from college, from past work jobs, from high school, like from fitness, all throughout the night. Just these different areas of life came in and came to this spot where I was at. And I was like, I don't know any other place where I could get this. Yeah. You know, where I could see directors and learn about directors of Hollywood. Or I remember one night there was this prince from a different country who came in with bodyguards, you know. That's
kind of like Stu. He meets a lot of interesting people.
Yeah.
A lot.
And you meet some characters and you learn from people and you feel more cultured and stuff versus if you're in the fitness space, you see the same people every single day.
Pretty much. Yeah. I guess it's kind of like nice to kind of like have a little bit of both. Yeah. But I could see why you got out of it in the sense of like just having like the sleep aspect.
Well, the thing is that wasn't the person I wanted to be. You know, like you could literally change your environment, and just by doing that, you become a different person. Yeah. You don't hang around with certain people that don't align with like your future version that you want to be.
Right.
You know.
I feel like when I met Stu, my husband,
shouts out Stu.
Yeah. I think he was maybe going out a little bit more than before he met me. Mm-hmm. He's never been a drinker, not since I've known him.
Even as a bartender?
Even as a bartender.
Wow.
No, I think it's because he sees how people react. And he's seen like, you see regulars, right? Mm-hmm. And you
build these relationships.
You see regulars and you see like, he saw this one guy, I think this guy came in with like a different date every week.
Yo, that shit's wild. I mean? I've seen that.
That's the crazy part, right?
Yeah. So every week. Like there's usually one or two guys at the same bar who come in with a different person
Right. Or then you just see people that are just getting drunk like all the time.
Yeah.
And I think it maybe just stems from he had his time in his early 20s. Mm-hmm. I've seen pictures of him in his early 20s, and I don't even know who that is. Because, like, you know,
that's all the man I married.
Yeah, like, he is not that type of person. I'm glad that he doesn't really drink much, but I think it's because he doesn't like, he's doing a lot of other things right now to not always be in that space. Mm-hmm. He enjoys people that he meets. He loves people that he works with, but he just sees people kind of like, you know, different sides of people when they've had too much. Yeah. And he's just like, and the sleep part too, he gets pretty good sleep because when he gets home, sometimes it's like 1 a.m. Yeah. And he's like sleeping till like 9.
That's not 9:30.
It's not bad. Yeah. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3. Yeah. So it really messes with his schedule for the day because he wants to work out. He doesn't like sleeping past a certain time. Yeah. I think like 9:30, 10 is like too late. I understand it because like for me, that's like part of my day is already gone.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
we did so much today.
We did. That's how I said it's only 10:30. Yeah. But I think like being in that field, I worked at a restaurant long ago. And this is also really crazy because I used to smoke cigarettes like in my early 20s.
Me too. I love a good cigarette once in a while, to be honest.
Yeah. But like socially, and I'm like, I remember working in the restaurants, like that was your break. That's what you do. Yeah. And I for myself, I can resonate with the going out with coworkers after and getting drinks. Like that was definitely me. He did that, but I think because he wasn't dating anybody, now that he's with me, he will be like, "Hey babe, is it cool if I go for a drink with like, you know, one of his coworkers?" And I was like, "Do your thing." Yeah. Like you just worked a long shift. Go have a drink. Yeah. Just don't be out too late. You know what I mean? Like, and I know who the person is because he's also one of my friends now too. But Stu will never overdo it. He'll have like maybe 1 or 2 old fashions. He's like classy. He's not like, you know, taking shots. And doing all
I can't be taking shots anymore.
No,
it's not a thing.
When did I have? I think I had a shot like a couple shots, maybe New Year's. Okay. And I hadn't in a long time, and I was like, I don't know how I used to do this. Like I am dead.
Well, I remember like just having a bottle like in high school of I think the first alcohol that I drank was like New Amsterdam pineapple.
Wow. Interesting. I don't even think I ever heard of that one.
New Amsterdam? Never heard of it?
I heard of New Amsterdam, not pineapple though.
Yeah, I thought it was fire. It tasted so good. We drink it like literally water. And I was like, how am I putting this down? Like, and it's also technically poison, right? You're poisoning your body at that point too. Yeah. For some reason, that burning feeling was just associated with fun. Yeah. You know, you just associate.
I would drink anything I get. Someone give me when I was in my college years. Really? It'd be like maybe a beer, a Jaeger shot. I think I actually have a picture of me doing a Jaeger shot.
Can't do Jaeger.
I don't know what I was doing. I mean, they had so many different drinks when you're going to bars in college. Sure. You don't even know. I think one was called like an Incredible Hulk.
Let's go Incredible Hulk.
Is that an actual drink?
I think so.
Something like that.
It's a shooter, right?
Don't remember. Whenever people were like saying like, oh yeah, this is a good drink, I was like, cool. I think at one point I was like Red Bull vodkas. Right.
I do love me a Red Bull vodka.
Tequila sodas are like my go-to if I'm having if they don't have like hard kombuchas or like certain drinks.
Hard kombucha's getting big. They have like their own like breweries and stuff and bars now, especially like OC area, San Diego area. They got a lot of them.
Yeah, like my girlfriend was trying to get me into them for like a year. I was like, I don't drink that shit.
It's good for
and then all of a sudden I see her like a year later and I'm like, oh, I only drink hard kombucha. She's like, what the hell? But it was like, it's like kind of cool because it's like, it's not too heavy. You obviously can't have too many. I think too many of anything is going to make you kind of wild. But hard alcohol, I really kind of just try to stay away from it. Yeah. Because it's like, I'm a lightweight.
Lightweight.
Not happening.
In terms of going back to the 50K, I want you to talk about that.
Well, originally when we were talking about doing a podcast, I think for a while, then I had this whole experience, kind of like I applied for this trail team with Adidas.
You kind of went from like not long distance running to like hardcore long distance running with a team, got the gear, got the training regimen, was running every day. And
honestly,
I was like, what?
Running every day is not for me.
Hello friends, I hope you are enjoying the show. I just wanted to chime in and talk to you about Bucked Up. If you need more protein in your diet, creatine to aid your muscle growth as well as recovery, or pre-workout for your demanding sets during your workouts, Bucked Up has you covered. I use their Snickerdoodle protein and creatine monohydrate
every single day. And on days I don't feel like working out, their BAMF nootropic pre-workout keeps me swinging kettlebells, running mountains, moving weight inside and outside the gym. If you'd like to try them out and save some money, use code NateBiltz1 for 20% off any order. And back to the show.
What was your training process like for the 50K?
I would say, so I already had a coach doing like my strength and strengthening workouts. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, hey, I literally reached out to him and I was like, is this possible? Like, I know we're trying to build muscle right now. And I hadn't been really working with him for like 6 months, I think already. And I was like, can I do this on top of what I'm doing with you? And he was like, yeah, it's definitely possible. In my head, I'm like, cool, I'll apply for it. And I had been running with Adidas for a couple of years. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to, one of my girlfriends was like, you should
Adidas
apply.
Runners LA?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is that, by the way? Is it just like a running team?
So there's also Runners Los Angeles, which is pretty much a team of, there's a trail coach, his name's Martin. There's a couple other people that I already knew that I ran with. So they do different runs around LA, but the trail team with SoCal Trail, that was our first time putting a trail team together last year. So we were like one of the first teams. Yeah. I think they're still going to be doing it this year. I'm not positive. But when I found out about it, I was like, I love challenging myself. And it was 3 races. You obviously get a bunch of gear. The races, everything is like sponsored, which was like, okay, this is cool. Like, but I did not know how much running I was going to have to do. I mean, I knew I could do it, but.
How much was it?
The training plans, I think 1 week, I ran about 50 miles total. Okay. And that is like a lot for me. But when you're on the trails, you definitely get that mental that they talk about.
Fatigue?
Like, not even mental, like fatigue, what? But like you're at a point in your brain where you're like, I don't know if I can continue doing this. Like you kind of beat yourself up, but then you push through it and it's like mentally challenging. Like, especially when I was out there for my 50K.
I feel like, at least for me, my 50K that I did, I think it was a few months before you, was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, how did you feel after 15 miles? After like half of it?
After 20, like, I wanted to stop.
Yeah. And where did you do yours again?
Paramount Ranch, a little outside of LA. It was like an old filming ground, I think.
Okay, so was it like really
hilly?
It's a
loop. It's a big hill, but it's a loop. So you run it like 10 times.
Oh, no. I could not do that. I feel like we did 15 miles in one loop.
Okay, and then 15 another.
Again, no. So we did the same loop twice.
Okay.
I would rather run the whole thing.
Just one time.
From here to there.
Yeah.
But the whole loop thing kind of messed me up.
Yeah.
Because it's mental.
It's mental.
And it was August. Mm-hmm. And like the experience from going from like a 10K, they had this Red Rock. It's Red Rock. It's in Malibu, or it's in that area. And the Red Rock was hard because it was literally like you're running up, then down, like really like just straight down, and then back up. That one was really challenging in the sense of, even though it was 10K, it's not a lot of miles for certain people. And my mindset, I had been running like longer than that. That was really hard because of the elevation. Mm-hmm. And then we did Point Magoo, which is in Malibu. They did I think it was the 25K.
Oh, these are multiple races. This is the second
3 different races, yeah. So they basically, those races were like training for the big 50K.
Which was where? Malibu as well?
It was in Malibu where the MASH, I don't know if you remember the show MASH. This is going to make me feel old again. MASH was a show back in the day. It was like my dad's time, okay? But I remember hearing about it, and it was actually where they filmed the actual show. And it's in Malibu as well. But it's called the Bulldog Ultra.
That was the 50K.
That was the 50K.
Okay. So where did your mind go to when it was at the breaking point?
What I did was I actually ran with a group of girls called Chingonas.
Chingonas?
They're like a whole group of amazing girls, and we actually did a training run. I did a training run with them. I was like, at that point, I think my mileage was already up. So I was like, oh yeah, 15 miles, no problem. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But this is my first time actually checking out the area. I did it before we had a training run that weekend with our actual team. So I did it twice that week. So I got in there, and I mean, we had
30 miles total.
Yep, 30 miles. I think that was the 1 week that I did 50 miles, like overall, which was crazy. But kind of just seeing what I was going to be actually dealing with. The first mile or two is all right, but between mile 2.5, 3 to like mile 6 is painful. Like that's where I wanted to know where I'm going to struggle and where I needed to kind of like pace myself. So that whole 15-mile loop, you don't really need to do 1 loop. 2 loops, that's like, I'm not doing that again. If I do the Bulldog this year, I'm doing 25K. Because like you really see everything that you want to see. You see the nature, you see like, it's that race was so beautiful in so many ways. But my phone and my watch died once I got back to the second part. Okay. Like I kind of like changed out my vest, added more gels to my vest, got some water, talked to my coach, and I was like, hey, do you have a charger? He's like, Joe, we don't not have time. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm like, I was more upset with myself because I wanted to track it. Yeah. And I needed to like have it. And I had a whole playlist like set up for that second part. Yeah. For like my mental headspace. Sure. And one of the guys that I was running with in the first part, I saw him and we were kind of like similar pace. So I was like, I saw him also come around when we were starting the second portion. And I was like, yo, I'm like, me and you, we're doing this together. I need somebody to like back me up and cheer me up. And I feel like when we talked earlier, you're good energy, same mindset. Yeah. So we pretty much like held each other accountable. And every time that because my watch died, my phone died. So I have no calculation of how many miles I'm at or what I'm doing. You're delirious at this point. It felt so much harder. Yeah. I thought I was so ready for that second portion. I like crashed in my mind. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to like mental, because you start to like see things. Like I was running and there was times where I thought in my mind, I was actually sitting on the side, but I was like in motion. But like in my mind, I started like seeing things. You start to like see things out there.
You become delirious.
Yeah.
No, you become delirious.
It's really crazy. I'm like, why is this clouds like that? Like, why does this look like everything's breathing? I'm like, I'm not tripping right now.
No, but you kind of get high. Yeah. You kind of get high. You kind there's this actual point where like you run so much or you're in this like flow state or whatever that like you kind of feel like you're going crazy.
It was
shit
really,
starts to
really
get blurry.
Crazy.
You see your feet; it's just moving, and you're like, "What am I doing?" Yeah, and then you kind of feel pain too, and you're just like,
you feel pain. You start to kind of think that your knees are hurting. I don't even know. His thing was, I think his hamstrings were like messing with him, were like going up, and I think for me, it was actually just like the back of my feet. So each time that I was like, "Oh my god," like, and he would be ahead of me. He's like, come on, let's go," and then I would be ahead doing like my downhills, and he would be like, I don't know. I'm like, come on, let's go. Like we would have each other's back the whole time. But there were just times where I was like, okay, I know where I'm at. And then it was like 5 miles later. I'm like, no, that wasn't right. And I'm like, where am I? So when we finally got over like this river and like around this other part, I was like, okay, I think I know where I'm at now. Because it's not like I don't pay attention. I'm just so mentally like, I just want to be done. At one point, I had this song that I was singing. I think it was...
You're like, I don't have music, I'm going to sing.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what song it was. It was Kendrick Lamar. Oh, what was the song that I was singing? Martin Luther King. Okay. I Have a Dream. You know the song that I'm talking about?
No.
Okay. Either way, I had the song in my head. I kept just singing it to myself like out loud. I'm not a good singer in any way. And I'm just like singing it to myself like over and over.
It's getting you through.
Because that's like my mental... song that really pushes me and makes me feel like confident that I can get it done. So at some point I'm like so delirious, like I'm singing to myself. I keep thinking that I'm sitting on the side, but I'm actually in motion running. Yeah. And when we both decided, when we finally crossed the finish line, I think I got like 7 hours. It was so like every time like right before I finish a race, doesn't matter what the distance is. Yeah. I'm like so emotional.
Did you cry?
Oh yeah.
I cried.
I cry all the time. I'm like. I cry all the time.
Mine's different though. I don't think I remember the last time I cried.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is another reason why I probably went to therapy too, because I held a lot of emotions in for a while.
Yeah. No, but like I was confused because like.
You're like, what's going on?
I was like bawling.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't remember the last time I cried. It's probably a couple of years.
Well, this is probably why running's good for you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, definitely. You know what I mean? I feel like for me, like, I'm like, wow, I just did that.
Yeah.
And I'm never doing that again. And you say that you're never doing it again, but then you get your teammates start to talk to each other and like, hey, so I see this other one coming up in like January. I think a bunch of us were like.
Do you like the whole team aspect of running?
I liked the team that I had.
Okay.
I think they chose us very well.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because I don't know how I would have met these people outside of running with them. Mm-hmm. But we were all so different and came from different parts of LA and Orange County that I was just like, wow, like this is my family. Like these people rock. Yeah. Everyone on my team was so supportive of each other. I think that doesn't always happen. Sometimes you just have someone that you don't really resonate with or you don't get along with. We all got along. Like we have been trying to get together after, you know, the races. So when you're doing trainings and things like that, you see each other more than anyone else. And I feel like our schedules are all so different and we live in different parts that we will get it together. You guys, we will get it together because we want to get together and have kind of like a reunion in some way because we all went through this challenge together. And it was just like, it was an experience. I don't think that, I'm really grateful for the experience. I hope they do that again this year because I feel like even Adidas and the SoCal Community Trail, like everyone that I've met has been like relatable, inspiring. I can connect well. And I feel like they're always just kind of like, they don't see you as not good enough. Everyone there is doing their best and like on the same page.
Yeah. I love that. The only reason why I asked is because I kind of had a negative connotation towards like run clubs.
Oh, yeah, I can understand that. There's so many now.
Yeah, there's that, but they're kind of cliquey.
Honestly,
it's like, we're in the cool kids club, we're in the cool kids club, we're in the cool kids club. And I'm just like, yo, I'm just trying to get some miles in, meet some good people type of deal. And sometimes they're kind of like, you'll show up and then like everyone's like clicked up and like, you know.
I don't think that's going to change. I think that like you're going to meet your people. You're going to make friends. Yeah. But I feel like it's just like in my mind, I don't see it like there's some run clubs I haven't been to yet. I heard about Koreatown Run Club. I heard a bunch of good things about that run club through one of my girlfriends. I feel like now that they're all over the place, obviously, primarily I was running with Venice when I first moved out here. Or
Venice Run Club's
like,
huge.
It's way bigger now. Yeah. But I've met some really like.
There's a couple hundred people come go to it.
I think it's like more now.
Yeah.
They actually have, I think, what do you call it? They have people. They have like set times where certain people run, and then or waves.
Pacers, right?
Waves.
Yeah, pacers.
So they have a wave of people go.
Yeah.
Wait like 5 minutes, and then another wave go. That's how many people are there now. And I think when I was going, it was like 100 people. Yeah. Which was like, you know, chill. Yeah. Still a lot of people, but definitely not as much as it is now. Yeah. But I think it does. There's a lot of cool things about run clubs. You're doing something that you're getting out of your comfort zone. You're meeting people that you normally wouldn't meet. You're kind of doing something healthy for yourself, as long as you're not like, you know, trying to be the fastest one and out of everyone. Like, you know, you're there to have a good time and do chill paces and like have, you know. Then there's just like certain people that I've met where I'm like, okay, they're just here to me like a girl, or like I don't know, like are they really here to run? Like, did they run the whole thing? Yeah. Some people are just running, and that's fine. If you want to run like a half mile or a mile, I'm there to get my run in. Yeah. That was like that for the whole time. How I met Sue is I went to go visit my friend
from a run club
after Venice Run Club. It was with a bunch of my friends who I'm still friends with. Like at one point, the only group of friends that I was hanging out with were the people that I met from Venice Run Club. And like I still hang out with said people. Sure. It's just not as much anymore because we all have different schedules,
different lives.
But we're still like, it's like when we meet up, it's like nothing's ever changed.
What's the characteristics of a good friend to you?
Honestly, someone that is gonna be like not sugarcoating stuff. Kind of tells you straight up, you know, is
like kids.
Kind about it. I have a lot of friends that are kids. That's like kind about it. I meant
the honesty part.
Yeah, like my best friend at home. We've known each other for like 8 or 9 years, and there was a lot of times I would be defensive when she would say certain things and take things personal. That's the biggest thing. Like it's hard, I think, for a lot of people not to take things personal for a lot of reasons. But I think if you don't take things personal and you use it as like someone critiquing you, just like maybe taking like that weakness that you maybe not had seen before and kind of going off that and like taking it as like a compliment, being like, okay, like, hey, I think you're amazing and I think your potential is great, but I don't think you're using your full potential. This is what you should be doing. Like friends that like support you in that way, don't like, if you don't look good, tell me I don't look good. You know what I mean? Like, don't tell me I look good if I don't.
What if you like the way you look though?
If I like the way I look, I don't care. You know what I mean? Yeah. But if I could do something better or say something better or kind of come off a certain way in a better way, I feel like most of the time when I'm trying to explain myself to like a serious situation, I usually try to process. It takes me like a day or two to like really process what I want to say if it's important. But I feel like with my best friend at home, if there's something that I know I need to work on and I'm like avoiding working on it, or like she just knows like a pattern, she'll be like, hey, I see you, I know that you have a lot of this potential. Why aren't you using it? Like, why aren't you? I just like honesty. Yeah. And people that don't sugarcoat. Yeah. And obviously people that I don't expect my friends to show up the way that I do, because this is just how I am as a friend. Yeah. But I've also noticed that when I show up the way that I do, the people that I hang out with show up that same way. Yeah. There's nobody 100%. In my circle that's not doing the same amount, giving the same amount of effort in my friendship into friendship.
Well, so I don't know. I feel guilty when someone shows up so much for me and then I don't show up for them, you know? And I'm just like...
Yeah, but that's not a you thing.
Subconsciously,
that's just how they are. Yeah,
but like, it makes me want to show up more for them. Yeah. And because like, I feel the energy that they're giving me and like the friendship that they value, right? And I want to give it back if it's the right person, if they bring value into my life. And again, that's kind of selfish.
If you're just doing it to expect something back, that's different.
No, it's totally different. Yeah. And I don't really know how you could tell, but I think it's just like a vibe thing. Yeah.
I was just going to say like an energy thing.
Like it's kind of hippy dippy, but like it's a real thing.
It is though. Like I know that if people are showing, if you're being consistent, just like how you are with your workouts, right? I like being consistent. I have a certain thing. If I can't get my workout in, I'm going to figure out how to get in at some point during the day. Yeah. I don't have time to hang out. Like,
you value it so much.
I really do. But if you're valuing like your workouts as much as you're consistent with your workouts, right? Like I think it shows up in friendships too. Like showing up for somebody. Sometimes if you just don't have the space or the energy, just be honest about it. Don't try to show up or say yes to 3 different things in the same day. Yeah. I've definitely have been that person. Yeah. Where I'm like, oh crap. And then I feel bad saying I can't go or letting someone down. Where now I just say, let me get back to you. Because if I say yes or I say no, maybe. Like it's a maybe.
I feel like maybes aren't good.
Yeah.
I don't like saying maybe. Because I feel like that's a half in, half out. Immediately when I feel that feeling now, I just say no.
Yeah, like exactly.
Because like if you even have the hesitation of it, you really don't want to go.
That's what I'm saying.
And you just don't want to say no and make it feel bad, but they will appreciate the no more, in my opinion, because deep down you don't want to go. Deep down you want to go, but you know you're not going to be the best version of yourself there.
I've learned a lot about myself. One of my girlfriends, she probably doesn't even realize that I carried this with me since she's told me a couple years ago. But she actually was the one that was saying, instead of saying yes or no, just say, I'll get back to you. Because then you have a little bit of time to process. Maybe look at your schedule. And then maybe you can add that in. Because there's so many different things you could do out here in LA. There's always something going on, especially if you know certain people. Meditation groups like freaking, I think Mudwater. There's a place in Santa Monica. They had like a little like alcohol-free dance party on Friday night. It was like a little social thing. And I thought that was pretty cool because there's a lot of people that are looking for like, you know, alcohol-free places to have a good time and dance, like, you know, not into like the later night, like the earlier on. There's just so many different things going on in LA that I think you could just like meet people at. But sometimes it's like too much where you're like, like, you know what I mean?
There's
like,
definitely, you cannot get bored.
You can't say
yes
to everything. Yeah. That's point blank. So I've just been learning how to be like, okay.
I like that though.
This I definitely know I can go.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, it's not rude. Yeah. It's not aggressive. Like even though it doesn't matter if you say no, cool. Yeah. But like,
it gives you the option, like after processing it, to like potentially go if you can make it work.
That's what I just think. I think just like consistency.
I like that.
Consistency with your workouts. If you're showing up, if you're as consistent with your workouts, I think your friendships, like for me, I know that like if I'm still in this moment as I'm reminding myself, I'm still taking the time to remember that I need to take time for myself and charge myself, or I'm not going to be good to be around. I don't even want to be around myself. Yeah. If I'm not like charged up, had a good night's sleep, you know, had my coffee, you know what I mean? I just need to have my little headspace time. I think it's kind of why my husband is that way. I'll go to the gym in the morning and like that'll be his time to like drink his coffee for like 30 minutes. Yeah. Just sitting there on the couch. Sure. Just like in meditation, like he's very chill and like I wouldn't say he's like lazy in any way. He's just slower moving where I'm more like like on all the time where I'm like learning to kind of just like chill, wake up slow and, you know, then like set an intention, get to the gym. And then, but my schedule is different with work. Yeah. My work schedule right now is like a normal 8 to 5. And normally like my schedule is like, could be like 8 to 1 and the next day it's like 9 to 2. And then they, you know, it was always kind of flexible. Yeah. So now kind of having that schedule that I have right now.
It's predictable.
Yeah. I can work out early in the morning. I definitely do not like working out after work. Like I said, like after 5 o'clock, my mind is gone.
Talk about CrossFit real quick because there's a lot of people talk negatively about CrossFit. And
I wonder what that's. I mean, I can understand if you like injury wise.
Injury wise, yeah, for sure. But besides you, I think I had this guy on the podcast. His name is Jack Wainwright. He does a lot of kettlebell stuff now, kettlebell coach. But he really loves CrossFit and he likes the aspect of he names a lot of his kettlebell workouts after just similar to CrossFit. Oh, yep. You name it after some girl's name, Sally or whatever it is. Yeah. Or I mean Murph for sure, you know, all that stuff.
Veterans and stuff.
Veterans and stuff. And he structures his workouts that way. As I think it's pretty cool, and I like that aspect of CrossFit as well. But most of the people who I've experienced from a trainer standpoint, like come to me after they've done CrossFit, it's always injury. It's always negative. Yeah. Why is that?
I think that some people are, I mean, it's easy to get into CrossFit and get that like pump. It's almost like you're leaving your ego at the door, but then like you have this competitive mindset where you have to be the person that lifts the most or has like the heaviest bar or like whatever. I have just learned from beginning of CrossFit when I started like 8 or 9 years ago, and I still don't know some movements because I'm not trying to go to the games or anything like that. There's just certain movements that I focus more on that I really enjoy. But I've learned from my first experiences to like now is making sure you have correct form. You don't have to have a heavier, just because you're not going as heavy doesn't mean that you're still not, you know, getting a good workout in. Yeah, it feels really awesome to go to get like a heavy clean or a heavy like squat, deadlift, whatever it is. But I think that's how you just get injuries because like you're just not thinking about your form and like how you're actually executing that deadlift, or I'm just saying deadlifts and back squats because I think that's where the most injuries happen, especially when it comes to your back. Yeah, maybe not arching it a certain way. People get injuries, I think, that way because they're just thinking about how heavy they can go instead of focusing on the form. That's, I think, the biggest concept with
just like
CrossFit.
Put your ego out the door and just do the weight that your body wants to do.
I think it's really it's challenging when you go to a gym that is like you have certain people at that gym that make you want to be more competitive. Yeah, it's definitely a competitive
I feel like there's a fine line between like pushing someone and then pushing someone to the point where like there's no return, to the point where like you could seriously get injured, and it's not that much more weight, if that makes sense.
It's not that much more weight. I've noticed a better injury-free myself. Yeah. When I'm not going as heavy and I'm like, hey, like I know I can challenge myself, but like today, this is what I have. This is where my energy's at. Yeah. And I still get a good workout in because I don't overdo it. And then the next day I can like go for a run or whatever. Especially during the time that I was doing all that running. Yeah. I couldn't lift as heavy. 100%. That was really, really a struggle for me. Yeah. Because I love the difference with mental running. The mental aspect for running is like emotionally freeing, where I feel like with CrossFit, it's like a gut emotion where you just feel like this stress release and you just feel powerful.
It's quick.
Yeah. And especially like I was telling you, the different way they set up CrossFit workouts. Like you're saying, you're here and there and kind of like, I love that.
Oh, yeah.
I love that for my brain. I'm doing kettlebells. I'm doing push-ups, pull-ups. I'm doing burpees.
Swinging.
I'm like,
yeah.
And then you're doing as many rounds as you can in like 20 minutes or whatever it is.
You're gassed.
You're gassed.
I really
like being
don't
dead
love
on the
it.
floor.
Yeah, you're literally dead.
It.
You're dead after a CrossFit workout.
As I've gotten a little bit older,
yeah,
I definitely say like feeling dead on the floor. I still like it.
Yeah.
Not as much as I did 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I need to slow it down a little bit.
Sure.
Let me go down a little bit and wait.
Yeah. What do you call it? What's your advice to the girly pops out there who don't want to lift some heavy weight?
I think that a lot of the stigma behind girls who want to have like, you know, bigger butts or like more toned arms and things like that, you have to lift a little bit.
Say it again?
You have to lift just a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to be heavy, but if you want certain arms or you want like a certain style body, like I feel like Pilates too, I feel like I'm going to say Pilates, I'm going to go a complete different direction because Pilates is something that is not for the weak.
Shit's hard.
I
was shaking.
I sit here and say I can kick ass in CrossFit.
Yeah.
To put me in a Pilates class, I actually that's like one of the things that I want to get. I kind of want to slowly get into. Maybe doing it like once or twice, like every couple weeks.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really good core wise, and it works different parts of your body, just like different types of workouts.
Yeah.
Like yoga, I love yoga.
Working out's so dope. There's so many different aspects of it.
Stretching and mobility is so
underrated.
It goes a long. It's underrated.
It's underrated.
And it goes a long way.
Yeah.
Especially when you're doing heavy stuff.
Yeah, well, it just makes your movement through life better.
Yeah.
Like if you're not irritable, because like if you're tight,
you don't even realize how tight your hips are until you stretch.
Yeah. Or
you're doing a certain yoga poses. Yin yoga, out of all the types of yoga, is my favorite.
Yin.
Have you never tried it?
Never heard of it.
What? I think you would like it.
Okay.
It's more like breath work and deep stretches.
Okay.
I would say it's usually like more cool than hot. There is hot yin yoga, but I think I've done more practices with like cool classrooms. I have an amazing, she's been one of my great friends for the last couple of years, but I needed something to kind of like help me move through some emotions, kind of bring it to the surface. If you've never tried it, I promise you might cry.
What's the difference between yin yoga and regular yoga? Because I do yoga once or twice a week right now.
Okay.
Like, and I just I have like classes on like that I bought from like online.
What kind of yoga is it though?
It's by this company called Black Swan Swan Yoga. Have you heard of it?
No.
Okay.
So is it like just like
vinyasas?
Okay, so that type of yoga is like you're doing a lot of the same movements.
Yes.
Over and over.
100%.
Right?
It's like you do it 10 times throughout the hour.
Yin is you're sitting more in poses.
For longer.
Times.
Okay.
So
like holding poses for a long period of time.
Right. So for people that are like sitting, you know, at a desk or sitting often, aren't able to move a lot, I think it's for anyone, honestly, or anyone that is moving through some emotions that are kind of hard to come to the surface. I promise you, like, there's so much emotion stored in your hips. Like, you don't even realize that when I'm sitting in those poses, like whether it's like child's pose or like, you know, happy baby, there's just
happy baby is so hard.
It's honestly one of my favorite, honestly. Maybe
if you guys don't know what it is, just imagine putting your butthole to the ceiling or the sun. Like that's what happy baby is.
Yeah.
You look so stupid doing it.
It does feel silly, but I promise you, like those poses, you would like the more flexibility that you have when you're doing those poses. I just like it because it makes me sit still. It's more like it's like a meditation almost.
Yeah.
And you also have to do like a little bit of breath work.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like with the other regular yoga like vinyasa and things like that, or like the yoga with the weights. I'm like, I don't want to do weights with yoga. I do weights already.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want just like myself.
Yeah.
And I want to be more zen.
Let's go zen.
I feel like the other types of yoga you're just moving more. Whereas like this is more like deep stretch and you're more like sitting.
Okay, I like that.
And it's for me.
It opens your shit up.
Everything else that I have going on, I needed something that I could just like sit.
Yeah.
With myself. And I handle a lot. I think every time, it's like probably maybe like 2 times out of like over the 100 times I've gone to my friends' classes or again classes, you get teary eyed.
That's how hard it is.
You get emotions.
Those hips be releasing those energies.
Yes. Listen, after you did that 50K,
yeah,
and you said you like bawled.
No, that shit fucked me up. I was like, what?
Try Yin Yoga.
Yeah. She was like, you'll cry too.
Well, because I know that you lift heavy too. That's just good for like deep stretches anyways.
Yeah, no,
I mean, not everyone cries. I just think for me, I was seeking something to kind of help me get these emotions to the surface, because I feel like even though I'm an emotional person, sometimes when the emotions are too much, I kind of just don't want to deal with them. Yeah. So I'm like, and I'll go for a run, or I'll go figure out how to get my emotions out in a different way.
Why aren't you a fitness coach?
I don't know. I really don't. I could tell you how many on my hands and my toes, how many people times like 10.
I'm so confused by it, because it's such a huge part of your life.
Yeah.
Like, you've like coached humans before, like, and you know, like, just become humans. Like, you're so passionate about it. The way you describe about the running, the fitness, like, your form's great, all the above. I'm just like,
I just learn from other people too.
No, I know.
Like, I think just like you said, like, you're a coach, but you have a coach. That's kind of like the same thing for me. Like, I need someone to kind of direct me in my own way. I think it's healthy to have that.
Sure.
And who knows what I'm going to do this year. But I know there's a lot of different avenues that I'm kind of exploring.
Because I know you said you're trying to do like a 180 this year, change up like your whole lifestyle type of deal. And in my opinion, I'm just like, girl, like, I think you'd be a great coach.
Yeah. There's a lot of little things I'm not going to even like talk about yet, but there's a lot of avenues I'm kind of going down.
The content creation too, though.
Content creation.
Yeah, the way that you talk about it is very romantic compared to
what you were saying. What
I was saying about. Because like to set up a camera at a gym and stuff, it still feels like icky to me. It
feels icky, but at the same time, it's just like females going into the gym for the first time. And I say females because I know that when I first started going to the gym and going to a section where there's all men, it's scary, right? And you feel awkward, and you're like, don't want anyone to look at you. But like, a lot of people are doing the content and recording themselves and doing these things. So you kind of just not getting it. You just don't give a fuck. Like, it's not icky. You know what I mean? Like, you're doing it. You look good doing it.
Yeah.
Like, zone out. Who cares if someone's looking at you? But like you said, some gyms don't allow recording stuff, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but like, no one's ever said that.
Oh, okay.
You know, like, no one's come up to me.
So everyone's pretty much doing the same thing then.
Yeah. Well, the thing that fucked me up was when I was in Toronto.
Yeah.
I saw someone streaming their workout.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Like, every movement, like, streaming, going down. There's comments going. I see donations on his phone going off.
Wow.
Like, comedy working out. Like, he's making jokes while he's doing some bad curls. I'm just like, yo, this is wild. And again, I'm not judging. I am judging, but like, do your thing though. Like, do your thing, bro.
Obviously, it's working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think when I see stuff like that, I'm like, okay, this guy is. It's like almost like you're faking it till you make it type of thing.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think that whatever this guy is doing, however it's working for him, I think finding something like if that's something that you want to be doing, like you want to be like live streaming or doing whatever.
Sure.
I think like your kettlebell stuff, like I was telling you, and like this podcast itself, I think it's such an incredible part of you that I've gotten to kind of like see. I've like gone through different like videos and seen people that you've talked to. I was a little bit nervous coming on today because I'm like, am I going to sit this way, that way? I got coffee on my shirt.
She really got so nervous, she spilled everything.
Oh my God,
we won't talk about it.
Everywhere. But like, I think that you have a lot of extensions of yourself.
Yeah.
And kind of just like figuring out, focusing on what you want, how you want to see it. And
well, it's
how
a big confidence thing, right?
Yeah.
I think that, for example, this bodybuilding stuff.
Yeah. Which I think is really like, you look great.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. It's the first time.
The posing part is hard though.
Posing part's hard.
Yeah.
It's the first time in my life that I've dedicated consistency to, like eating the same meals every single day, doing the same workouts every single week, and seeing the progress has made me more confident in it, right? And with any skill, I think it just is doing the same thing for a long period of time until you could confidently say you could do it.
Yeah.
Right. So like, for example, I've been doing this podcast for 4 years and it took me a lot to learn each tiny aspect of it. And most people don't know the work it takes to get good at a certain skill. Like the kettlebell stuff. How many times have I been flipping in a park? How many reps? Like a fuck ton of times.
You didn't just pick up a kettlebell and start doing it.
No.
Like you had to like practice.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
And people don't realize like how many fucking reps it takes to get there for you. To be honest, like, you've probably done a ton of thrusters to get those shoulders up there.
Yeah.
A ton of shoulder press. Like, how you couldn't even name how many reps.
I honestly think that I was doing shrugs too much back in the day.
Yeah.
Like my traps, like, they don't go away.
Yeah. Like, people don't know. Like, oh, I want shoulders like her. I want traps like her. I was like,
it just happens over
time. Do you
time.
want to do 20,000 shrugs? Because that's what it takes.
Yeah.
You know?
I've had people be like, oh, like, you know, like, I can't just, like, dial it in for you at the moment. Mm-hmm. And if you're asking me, like, hey, how'd you get your arms? For me, I'm going to be like, okay, these are the exercises that I do. But this has been over the last, like, 10, 15 years.
You're not going to get it in a year, dude.
No. Yeah. I mean, everyone's body is different. Mm-hmm. Like, you could be doing the same thing and then someone gets better results because, like, age difference, right? Yeah. When you're in your early 20s, I feel like, well, this is not for everyone either, but I feel like most people that I have met, you're young and can pretty much eat whatever you want, right?
Metabolism is a huge thing,
different.
but yeah,
it's different. But I feel
for most young 20-year-olds, like, you could eat whatever you want,
right? But at the same time, most young people. But at the same time, like, I think I had at one point I was working with teenagers. Mm-hmm. I had a 13-year-old, a 16-year-old, or a 13-year-old, a 15-year-old, and I think she was going to be 17. Mm-hmm. And this is like during the time where I was actually training. Was I training? I think I was training for my 30K in Bryce Canyon. Mm-hmm. This is like a year before. This is like a year, not last year, the year before. And they saw the way that I was like bringing my meals to their house and like going for 10-mile runs. And like the two older girls, I mean, 13-year-old, he could care less. He's like video games and stuff. Even though he played sports too, I think when I was in high school, like, I played sports, and then when I had the summer off, I hung out with my friends. I wasn't like thinking going to the gym. Yeah. I wasn't going to the gym at like 15, 16. Mm-hmm. I don't even think I was driving yet. I think I was like later on. Mm-hmm. But they saw me eating healthier and kind of like not like strict, but like they were going to the gym, and I was like, oh, let me see your workouts. They had like a solid leg workout. Like, these like 15, 16, 17-year-old girls. Yeah. And they played sports primarily, volleyball. I think one did like swimming and like soccer. But they're like, oh, well, we don't have sports, so we want to be active in some way. But the older one, I actually found out through the mom. She started changing her eating habits. Not to the point where it was like, you know, she's young. She can get away with it still. She just wanted to be healthier for herself in the sense of like eating more like better foods that didn't have as much crap in it. Mm-hmm. Which I just thought was like really cool because like I made an impression on like a teenager like in these days. And I was like, wow. But I think she's setting herself up for like when she's 22, 25, 30, just developing better eating habits versus like eating like, you know, a whole plate of brownies after she just did a whole leg workout. I mean, granted, she could get away with it.
It's also, it resets your system. Like when you eat clean for a long time, like I had.
You feel different when you eat stuff that's outside of that.
Yeah, so I had like ice cream for the first time in like 2 months yesterday. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, this is super rich. Like it's like, whoa.
It's almost overwhelming.
Yeah. It's also a huge dopamine hit.
Sugar.
It's like gambling, drugs, and sex all in one from that ice cream, bro. I was like, whoa.
That's so, what kind of ice cream was it?
Was that Van Leeuwen's?
Oh yeah, I like Van Leeuwen's. Which one did you get?
I just got cookies and cream. I'm a cookies and cream guy.
God. They have a location in Manhattan Beach that I love. They have like a lot of vegan flavors too. So obviously I don't dairy.
Big vegan stuff too.
Yeah. So what my husband got for me for Christmas was a Ninja Creamy.
I just got one. It's right there.
No, did you really?
Yeah. I'll show it.
I was like, I don't see it. Either way, you're gonna be so happy. Because I make my own protein ice cream at home. Okay. It's a vibe. It's good. You save like so much money, one, and then you know the ingredients that you're putting in it.
It's like Greek yogurt.
Yeah, and then you can you don't feel bad eating it because it's like protein.
Protein. It's a protein. Yeah. It's a dope protein shake.
Yeah.
With like maybe a little bit of like one Oreo in it or something.
Yeah. Which is fine. You don't need to overdo it. Yeah. I don't know how some people eat like a whole thing of Oreos. I'm like, it's kind of crazy. Have you ever been that person?
No, maybe but I have a couple friends for sure.
Really?
Even fitness friends. They're still into it.
Well, certain people can get away with it, right?
Yeah. I think. Well, I feel like dealing with some clients too who have binge eating disorders and stuff, like it's kind of crazy to see because like I can't relate. It
can be emotional too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, how did you eat the whole thing of Oreos? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me.
It's like an addiction. Sugar is addicting too, though. Yeah. Like, I feel like for me, like, I love sweet treats. Mm-hmm. I think we were talking about this before. Stu has a sweet tooth. My husband has a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
But we have been finding a lot of cool options that we add dates.
Yeah.
And he'll like use like the food processor or like the blender.
Dates is the hack.
Dates, walnuts, just different cacao, different things. And it's like he'll do like a healthy Snickers bar.
Yeah.
Or like little protein things and like dip it in like chocolate, like
dark chocolate or something.
Dark chocolate.
Yeah.
And I just think it's so interesting because like that satisfies the cravings that I would normally, or if I'm like going to the gym and then going to the grocery store after.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
That ain't
I'm
it.
hungry.
You're hungry.
I'm going to be buying stuff that I shouldn't be. Don't go to Costco.
Costco, you always end up spending way too much money.
It's not that. Sometimes when I go there, they have the aisles with the freaking samples everywhere.
Oh, I don't really do that.
Oh my God,
really?
the samples?
I mean,
if I know that it's
yeah.
like, if I know it, like, I definitely won't eat it, no. But if it's like certain things that I have gotten from there, I'm like, I'm
let's
gonna
go.
wait. You go over there and I'll be here.
I'll have a couple.
Yeah.
What's your go-to sweet tooth?
Right now, well, I like the Ninja Creamy.
No, like bad.
Oh, like bad. Ooh, this is a hard one.
Like you feel dirty eating it.
I think Reese's Cups.
Reese's Cups? Okay.
Like the regular ones.
Yeah, the regular ones.
I feel like
those are fire.
because they just have so much crap in it. You know, they do.
Yeah.
I think if you were to eat like 2 Reese's Cups, I feel like you're good. But if you get like those like bags, like the little mini ones,
that's it.
no bueno. Just so much sugar, and like you said, after not eating ice cream for that much, like it's kind of heavy.
Yeah.
My stomach doesn't feel good afterwards.
No.
I think the amount of time that I've eaten clean, if I eat something outside of it, I'm like, wow, this tastes different.
Yeah.
It is really true. Or your body kind of like rejects it in a way. You don't feel good. You kind of feel sluggish. You kind of notice when you start eating clean and then you eat something that's not really necessarily what you would be eating all the time.
Yeah.
You feel like at least for me, my mind's kind of foggier.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely super foggy.
I'm like, whoa. When I was a kid, I was eating whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
My grandparents had like the worst treats at their house.
Not it.
Soda cans.
It's crazy how uneducated they were though. Like
they're just like, oh, our grandkids are coming.
Like 2 to 3 Cokes a day. Like
Oh my God.
I used to drink a lot of soda growing up.
So bad.
Drinking your calories, you could get overweight quickly.
Coke cans and like what are those things called? Those little Twinkie things, zebra cakes.
Yeah.
So like any little Debbie brand,
yeah.
my grandparents had that.
Oh,
And like
the pantry was stacked. You loved your grandparents' house.
My dad did not like picking us up after the weekend that we'd hang out with our grandparents. We'd be like on sugar.
You're like, and then crash.
My dad's like, what do you mean you ate all this stuff? Like, we didn't even drink the whole soda can. We would drink half of it and like leave it somewhere, open up another one, leave it somewhere. Like it was pretty bad. I mean, we were like kids.
Yeah. Why did you move out to California? What was the reason?
So I moved out here. I think I've always thought about California since I was 10. I was really fascinated about like how big the state was. 1, 2. Always
since you were 10.
Since I was 10.
Okay.
I think I remember like reading about it somewhere. I'm a book nerd still, but then like I just like diving into books and like reading about just history in different states. And when I heard about California had certain like national parks and like animals, I always just dreamed of coming out here and seeing like said animals. I still haven't seen a mountain lion or anything like that, which is probably better. I've seen it on like TV. I know they're here.
Oh yeah.
But I haven't seen one necessarily.
Night runs, you'll see one here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like just like
we ran a couple.
Yeah, just like the nature and like just like how big the state was, and the fact that it's literally, if you look at a map, Connecticut's literally straight across. It's like complete opposite side, and I just always thought about being in a place that was nice pretty much all year.
Yeah.
You know, like opposite, we have all the seasons. I love growing up in all the seasons, but as I became an adult, I'm like, I can make a choice. I can either stay or I can like move somewhere that has better weather. And then I moved out here to kind of like still pursue the nannying and the animal care that I do. And with that, like, because I was moving to a place that I could be outside as much as I wanted, that was a plus for me. So I was like, well, whatever I end up doing out there, I can pretty much...
People pay great money for nannying out here.
Honestly...
Au pairing, whatever they call it.
Well, actually, you know what's funny is au pairs are most of the time they're from out of the country.
Okay.
And they get paid a lot less because they obviously either live with the families.
Yeah.
So they're getting their rent and their food paid for. Yeah. But for me, like, I never saw myself doing that.
Like living. You didn't ever
Yeah, I would never want to live with a family. I feel like it's kind of tough to have firmer boundaries, especially at a younger age.
Sure.
But with working with the clients I have now and the animal clients, and I do trails with certain dogs. There's a dog. I had a border collie.
Dope.
Sometimes I'll just pick her up. I'm not even working with her. I'll just pick her up to kind of like get me motivated to go.
Let's go, girl.
One of the trails that unfortunately I think it did get hit by the fires was West Ridge. You know, Nike Missile, like that whole area.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite trails, probably one of my first trails I ever ran when I was out here. But I'll bring one of the dogs with me. Sometimes I do trail runs with dogs.
That's fun.
Which is so fun because like
they're so excited.
She's a border collie, and I mean she's so good. She's not trying to run away from me. If anything, because she's a border collie, she's like hurting me, looking back, making sure that I'm good. She stays next to me.
Oh, that's cute.
She was great. She keeps me motivated too. Sometimes like those runs that I don't want to do, I'm like, hey, can I pick up your dog real quick? I'm gonna like go run with her, and she's like, the client loves that. They're like, oh yeah, sure. Like, she's like just hanging out. Like she would love that.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for the certain clients that I have, and I think building the clients that I've had since I moved out here has been really awesome. And then having family away from home. Yeah. Like working for families that treat you like family is also really important.
No, 100%.
Like I'm in someone's home. It's personal.
Sometimes it doesn't feel like work.
It still doesn't feel like work for me, but I want to do something completely different. Yeah. Like I want to see what else. Yeah.
I feel like since we've been talking and being friends, like you'd always chase your curiosities like throughout life.
Yeah. I'm like, I like being good at a lot of stuff. Yeah. But it's also it would be really cool just to like focus on like one thing and kind of just have different avenues, like fitness, right? Yeah. Fitness, content, maybe doing some like personal training or whatever. I love the networking aspect and connecting with people, going to different events. That's how we met. We met at an event. So I think just like going off like-minded people and kind of just making that like your community. Yeah. Like I said in LA, I think there's a lot, and like you said, run clubs. Not every run club is like a freaking high school cliquey. But I definitely say that there's definitely cliques in certain aspects. But I think finding your root friends. I mean, there's so many run clubs now. So
there's a lot. Before we close up real quick, because I have a client here in a sec. Yeah. What advice do you have for the big theme that I have with this podcast, or just like life in general, is just like getting better? Like no matter what it is, like where you're starting, just progressing, because like you get some joy out of that, you get some confidence in that, and just getting better at it. And like just knowing you like over the last few years, like you've curated this life of where it's pretty balanced. Like you talking about your meditations, your
talking about a lot of things today.
Yeah, the run work, the jobs that you enjoy, that they treat you like family, and like the fitness, the health, the eating. Like that's a lot for someone who doesn't have any of that. Like where do they start? How do they get started to get to like that curated lifestyle of just?
I think if you want it bad enough, obviously you're gonna. I think just writing it down. Maybe not trying to get every single goal in that same day. Might give yourself some grace. Maybe start with one thing and be like, hey, like I want to start working out, but like I don't know how to start, right? So there's obviously social media and stuff like that. You can see certain people doing certain things. DM people, ask questions. I don't think there's anything. Go up to that person at the gym and be like, hey, I really like how you're doing this. Like I don't really know what I'm doing. Like I think just kind of going outside of it.
I like that.
I mean, some people are just like, well, why are you talking to me? But like I don't think you're. I don't think that you are gonna. I don't think you're gonna. What's the word? I don't think you're gonna. If you don't go do it, then you're gonna beat yourself up for not doing it, and like maybe you might injure yourself in a way. Yeah. I think it is kind of scary to do it, or maybe if you don't want to go up to that said person, maybe like if you know somebody that knows somebody, kind of, or like you're there with somebody else at the gym. I don't know. I think it's just going outside your comfort zone, but not trying to stack too many things at once. Yeah. Because you're going to overwhelm yourself. If you want to start working out, maybe start doing it like once or twice a week. Just like with running, don't start running at 10 miles. Like if you can like run a half mile or a mile, that's a big deal. Yeah. Some people that's wow, you just ran a mile. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Like I think people see it as like, I've been trying not to say, oh, I just ran 10 miles. Instead of saying, I ran 10 miles. Yeah. Saying taking the just out of it. It's just like not just 10 miles. 10 miles is like 10 miles.
A lot. But your new standards for yourself change as you get better. That's why we could say just 10 miles. That's why we could say just 3 this morning.
Yeah, yeah. I think
it's because we've done it a lot to earn that just.
Yeah, we have. But I guess for myself, it's just giving myself more grace because I'm like, or like just like not being too hard on myself because it's still a lot. It's still like you got up and moved your body. We got up at what 6? I got at 6:30 this morning. Yeah. And I don't know. I think just not trying to stack too many things. Maybe just give yourself time and don't try to rush process. I think a lot of it is good to kind of take the baby steps first.
Beautiful.
Eating is, I think, once you dial your nutrition in, I think that's a really big aspect too. But don't be hard on yourself if you had a cookie. You know what I mean? It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We're human.
Yeah.
We like chasing some sweets out there.
I mean, the fact that you didn't have ice cream for 2 weeks or 2 months is a big deal.
I'm going to have ice cream every night with the Ninja Cream.
Oh my God, you're going to love it. I'm going to send you all the recipes.
Where can everyone find you, my friend?
Oh, on Instagram?
Yeah, anywhere.
Oh. Instagram is Fit Spiritual Gangsta. Same thing,
I was actually really curious. Like, where did that come from?
Listen, so back home, people used to be like, oh, you're so inspirational, you're spiritual, and you're fit. And the gangsta part is just kind of like, I'm very just like, kind of like, when I come in the room, I'm kind of just like...
She's swaggy.
Swaggy in a way, right? And I feel like it just kind of came together. I was like, okay, like, I want to add the fit and the spiritual, because like, and the inspirational, and the little gangster piece. I thought about taking it off at one point, but I was like, you know what? This is me.
That's you. That's who you are.
I'm not going to change it. Yeah. So it's the same thing for TikTok.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Go check her out, guys. And we'll have her on again. This was like a test run. We got new lights, cameras. Like, shit's about to be lit. And we're going to keep growing and get better, y'all.
Awesome.
Peace.